What's up, everybody? This is Stacking Surfer back with you for another awesome video. And I'm coming from Orlando. You can see a hotel behind me. It's kind of dark out here. I'm on the pool, so I've got a few minutes until they kick me out of here, and I've got to go inside. But I've got a special guest. Some of you have probably met Nick before when I've done Coin Talk with her. And, you know, we're going to be doing more of those here in the fall. The summer's just a little bit hard for us. So anyway, Nick was able to make it tonight, so she's our guest for the night. And anyway, so if you could hit that thumbs up, let people know that we're in here, as well as leave a comment, that would be great. It's kind of a last minute thing. I've been in meetings the last 3 days, and we're going to talk a little bit about this, but I've been stuck in the airport for almost 4 days. So it's been a little bit of a crazy thing going on. But Nick, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. The weather is beautiful. And so we've just been enjoying our summer while we have some warm weather.
That's awesome. So pool time?
Yes, we just got out of the pool, and we got out of the pool to watch the president talk about him leaving the race today. And so yes, so I'm pretty much in my swimsuit, and my towel is around my hair because it's soaked.
Awesome. So I'm actually right by a pool too, outside.
Oh, that's lovely. Beautiful.
I've been in a conference all day. I finally went to the gym, did some running, jogging, I should say. And it's just, you know, it can be pretty muggy here during the day. But
yes,
I need to get outside of the air conditioning. Yeah, just too much air conditioning for me all day today. So I wanted to get out a little bit. Well, let's welcome who we've got in here. We've got OC Stacker, welcome, and Gerald Draper. And we've also got Amy Harrell in the house too. Well, thank you guys for joining.
Good evening.
I know this is kind of a last minute, but I thought, Nick, today we could hit a couple quick subjects, and we'll see how things go. A lot of people may be watching other commentary on the president right now, but this week's been pretty, you know, eventful. We've seen, we've seen gold go to a new all-time high in the last 7 days. We've seen it now dropping. Same with silver, going up and coming down. You know,
and we're going to see that when it raises quickly like that, right? You're
going to see a pullback when it jumps.
Yeah, pullback. Yeah, when it jumps that quickly.
Exactly. We had basically a letter that came from the president that was not on presidential letterhead, that is not a signature that he has been currently using. So does he not remember his current signature and he's going back to an older one, or did someone use that letter and formulate that for him? Something funky's going on there.
Well, I don't know. As I know, my signature has changed over the years. I mean, can we really look at that? You know, and you know, he's aging, and how many times, you know, sometimes he doesn't even sign things. They have a stamp.
For sure, it's just different. You know? It's different than he's used recently. So they're little data points. Nothing, you know, to jump over. But you start combining them. We didn't see him for multiple days. Then we saw him on going up Air Force One saying hi the other day. And then he did come do a speech today. So we've had that happen. We've had him.
Talk about that for a second.
Yes.
Do you mind to talk about that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I felt like tonight America needed a leader, and Biden didn't show us leadership tonight. He didn't show us leadership from the Oval Office.
Yeah, what do you felt like he shared or showed today?
I don't feel like he showed us anything, except that he was dropping out of the race.
There wasn't a whole lot of. I mean, he was obviously reading a teleprompter.
Yes, he was reading a speech, you could tell. And, you know, I noticed that some of his words were slurred, but, you know, I went back and looked at the first primary race between him and Kamala when they were running for president before. And he slurred his words then as well.
So, you know, I wouldn't, here's the thing. He hasn't taken a cognitive test that we're aware of yet. We don't actually know what his capacity is. What we do know is he didn't have a very good debate with former President Trump. We know that he went down to Las Vegas and then basically left, said that he had COVID. We didn't see him for a while, and we see him drop out of the race. Those are kind of the things we know in the speech today.
And that's what I meant by leadership for tonight. He should have told us why he dropped out of the race.
Yep. I think so too. So right now, there's the problem, Nick, is there are so many. There's AI out there now. People can fake things. They can come up with stuff. There's a lot of, I heard that maybe he had passed away. Lots of rumors, lots of stuff floating around on the internet. And in a time like this, we need someone to come out and clear things up. And that really did not happen today. Oh, we may have lost Nick. Oh, she's gone on mute. Nick, you're on mute. maybe you're on mute on purpose. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit more about that today, the president, and then I want to talk about metals as well, what's happening with the price going up and down. And then kind of the third subject I wanted to hit in there is what just happened with what I call a mini SHTF. I've been dating with one of our internal friend groups that's basically said, hey, this was not an SHTF that happened, and because people didn't die. Well, I'll clear up that fact. SHTF is a very broad term, guys. It's anytime something drastic happens you're not planning on that you have to change all of your plans for. There really isn't a definition on how big these things are or how small they are. It's more of a situation that you weren't planning on, and it hits you really hard, and it's something that throws everything off. I had a conference I needed to be in Florida here in Orlando, and I had to take a connecting flight from California to Atlanta, and I got stuck in Atlanta for 3 days. So I missed part of my, half my conference. And eventually I was able to find one car company that would allow me to take a car and drive. So to me, that was an SHTF situation. To the people that are flying internationally, that have been stuck in an airport for 6 days, it's a big deal. Did they have enough money with them? It's very inconvenient. So in SHTF, you don't have to die in it. Your house doesn't have to blow up. You don't have to die.
Yeah,
family members don't have to die in that situation.
That has to be defined by a death, because that's not always going to be the case.
So we'll talk about that a little bit today too. But it's getting prepared for it. So I want to share with you guys some of the things I do to get prepared when I travel. And what do you do when you're stuck in an airport and the airport's not giving out travel vouchers? And do you sleep on the floor for 3 days? What do you do? So
and
we'll
people
hit that
have done
well.
that. We've seen that before during hurricanes and weathers throughout the United States.
Yes. So it's nothing new. It's nothing crazy. This is probably one of the first ones it's probably the first one I can think of I've really been in, where I had to take quick action and I had to figure out how to help my family, because I did have my wife and son traveling with me. If it was just me, it'd be a different story. But things can happen. We can have earthquakes, we can have tornadoes, we can have hurricanes. Some of these we know ahead of time, we can plan for a little bit, and maybe it still gets a little hairy and bad. Other times it just comes out of the blue. It's something that happens you were not even expecting at all. So Nick, I'm going to move over because they're going to come kick me out of here in a second. I'm going to keep this going. I'm going to put the camera off for just a second until I get resituated. But you guys will be able to still hear me.
Well, you should tell them that you're important and you shouldn't be moved during this live stream.
I know. Well, tell the pool boy that.
The pool guy, just tell him you'll pick up your own towels when you're done.
I forgot to bring cash to tip him. There's the problem. It's in the room. Anyway. Not in my swimsuit.
Now, okay, are you surprised that we haven't been hearing more of the situation going on in the media?
I'm surprised that the media is hush-hush on so many things. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I think people are not talking about that's happening.
Yep. Is Surfer going in and out, or is that just on my end?
That might be me. It'll get better here in a second.
Oh, okay. Because you seem I can't hear you.
It'll get a lot better here in just a minute. Okay. Is that better?
That's a little bit better. So.
Is that better, Nick?
You're like in and out, it's not consistent.
Okay, just a second. Oh.
Anyway, when I travel, I just always know that it's going to be very unpredictable. So I know that I'm just going to have to go with the flow. And usually I'm a very particular person where I like everything by itinerary. And I've got to realize that that's just not going to happen all the time.
So Can you hear me now, Nick?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go back to the president, and then we'll come back to the travel issues, and then we'll hit gold and silver price.
Okay.
Does that work? Okay.
Sure. I wanted to hear why he decided to jump off the race. Why now? Why didn't he talk about his party pushing him out? I mean, there's a whole host of things that he just didn't address this evening that I thought he should have addressed. And
do you think he had a choice?
I don't think he had a choice at this point. No, I don't. But I think that he should have said the powers, just saying that it's better for my party and we discussed it, and I agreed that they felt like that the country needs to go in a different direction. But say it.
I agree. So to me, it's a little fishy. I don't exactly understand what just happened.
Well, I guess what was the point of tonight then? If he wasn't going to give us the information.
I don't know. I mean, Fox News did report that there were 2 of the Russian bombers were intercepted today, along with some Chinese MiGs. Weird stuff going on over there. Maybe one of the things we're dealing with is the country felt like we just needed to at least have him say something and show his face.
And he did, and I still don't feel like he showed us strong leadership.
No, definitely not. And I'm still trying to figure out, does he want to do this? Is he being forced to do this?
Right. And
what's going on
question
here?
And I feel like he could have done that in a way that where he's not, instead of saying just pushed out, they pretty much, said they don't want me. They're saying they're going to use Pelosi's calling me, telling me to drop out. Because he was so adamant about that he was going to be staying in this race even after that debate. And so was his campaign.
It's such a 180. It's weird. And so, that's weird. Here, the other thing is I feel like Democrats should be feeling very disenfranchised right now.
But they're not. They're polling saying that Kamala Harris.
Yeah, that's true.
But I felt like the other side was going to do this anyways. They were going to come out ablazing and manipulating the polls to make it look like she's a strong candidate.
I don't know how someone only gets, doesn't even win a state during the former primary in 2020.
If you look at those primaries and when they were having their debates, I looked back today, and Kamala Harris is calling Biden a racist. That's what she's calling him throughout all of these debates that they had together.
I don't even get it, American politics anymore. Like
I don't understand it either, because just the things that she accused him of back then.
Yeah. I think it's crazy.
Yeah, I just felt like that he should have gone on there and gave us more information.
I agree. So real quick, I want to look at the comments and see if we have any thoughts here.
0 delegates. OC Stacker. I did see some states have about 5 states I did see have committed delegates to her. But again, that's only the few states, and they're presuming she's a nominee. We don't even know if it's legal.
We don't. So, I everything's fishy to me. It seems very weird. It seems very forced. It seems like something that is not his will. And it seems like he's just reading something there, and it was a short speech. It wasn't very long. There's just parts of the puzzle that are odd. They're not lining up here. And so to me, I'm not feeling easy. I'm not feeling like, oh, yeah, this is what he wanted, and I feel comfortable about it. I'm completely confused still. I know he's alive.
Well, I know, because he could have said, I completely agree. It's time for me to stay, and then he's talking about, he wanted to, the new generation or younger generation. Well, she's not that young. It's not like he's giving it to, some 30-something.
That's true. And you saw the, I guess it wasn't a speech. It was more of a Q&A from President Ford.
I did see that. Yes. That you shared.
And And it basically said, and I don't know if I totally agree with this, but it's an interesting comment. Is he was asked by a young lady or
a child, really. She was probably under the age of 12.
8. Yeah, maybe 8 to 10
maybe
or something.
8 to 10.
She said, will a woman ever be in the White House as president? And he said, yes, I think so. And he basically said it'll probably happen by being a running mate, and then something happens to the president, and then she becomes, the vice president becomes the president. And I think he mentioned something like it could happen in the next 8 to 12 years or something like that. So
yes, and then he also made the statement too that once a woman does break that mold, yes, that he'll probably never see another man in the White House.
He did, and the interesting thing is we're starting to see more and more governors that are female as well in the United States,
and that's okay. I don't mind a woman being in the White House, or but I want a qualified person to do the job. I want it to be qualified. So whether that's a man, whether that's a woman, I want the most qualified person in the White House.
For sure. And if the president really wants to step down and he doesn't want to do this anymore, cool. I'm just not buying it yet. I don't have enough evidence and proof that that's what he's really wanting to do. It looks very forced, and especially after the very strong rhetoric just a couple of weeks ago of I'm not doing this, it's not going to happen. Something's happened. But Nick, probably the most surprising thing though is that Democrats aren't standing up and saying, "Hey, our voice isn't being heard." I heard maybe Black Lives Matter might be saying something. I don't know if it's the organization or a few people that associate themselves with the organization, but I don't think we're done with this. I don't think this is a total shoe-in thing, and I think it's going to be an interesting time as we lead up here to the DNC. Do you know the day that is? I think, is it the first or second week of August?
It's the last week of August.
Oh, it's the last week. Okay, I was thinking it was sooner.
So they were trying to tell us that they wanted to have the nominee and vice president chosen within the first week of August on who they're going to run to go to the convention with. And he didn't even address his voters' problem. They should have heard from him because they voted for him, and he gave them no explanation.
That is true, and I didn't feel like he was throwing his vote and asking them to come behind her.
That's right, SPB. That Pelosi was threatening him with the 25th Amendment.
Yeah. So now this brings us to another question that I have. If he's not fit to run for re-election, should he be running the country right now, or is he running the country right now?
Well, I mean, has he been running? I mean, the question I have is who's been running the president? I mean, who's been running the country for the past year or two? Because
I don't know.
We really haven't seen much of him. And even when he campaigned the first time around, he was in his basement. They kept him in the basement when he ran for president against President Trump. So, there's just a lot of unknowns. And of course, a lot of speculation too. And I hate to speculate.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate. But what I do want to say, guys, is you're going to see potentially a lot of stuff on the internet. The best thing to do is either ignore it until some real facts come out, or at least always have skepticism of what you're seeing and reading out there. I think you really need to kind of understand and collect the facts before you jump to any conclusions here. But yeah, Nick, it's really weird to me. So, and I don't know how you justify, hey, let him finish his term, but he can't be president in January and February of next year,
because we don't think he's of his right mind, because we don't think his mind is there. So
what is that? You can't have both,
right?
You can't stay in and not run. So it's very odd, right? So
but
I think there's going to be.
We got what? 3 more months? 3 more months until the election, really.
Yeah, it's not very long.
Not very far away. So, and I'm curious. I don't even know who she will choose as a VP, and I think that's going to be an important moment as well. Who's going to be on the ticket with her?
I agree, and it seems like they've waited until after Trump picked his VP
Yes.
And,
yes. And that could have been a
strategy. So, yeah.
Yep. Also, we know that there's campaign funds, and we know that the Biden campaign transferred those into Kamala Harris, but just like took his name off the bank account and put her name on there. And we do know that's illegal. They're not allowed to do that.
So do you think there's going to be a time where someone steps in and starts saying stuff about this that has power and authority to do something? Like, for example, if that's not legal to take all the campaign funds?
Well, the Trump campaign has filed a suit for that.
Okay. Someone's got to step up against some of this stuff. This is crazy.
But I guess, but they'll rule on it too, and they can change the policies if they want to.
Yep. And even the way that the DNC functions, they can change their rules as well.
Yes. Well, we saw that Ohio has changed their laws as well, because to get on the ticket in Ohio, I think it was, maybe by last Friday or this Friday, the Democratic Party had to have their nominee.
Did that happen in time?
No, it didn't. But Ohio changed the law.
Did they change the law after that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 or 3 states that may or may not be able to change, or they may have to change laws. It's already past the deadlines.
Of course. There's some states that are going to have some legal issues, but I think that it'll all pan out, I'm sure.
Yeah. So anyway, that was crazy.
I mean, do you remember though? This isn't the first time we've had legal issues with Gore Bush. You remember how long it took? I remember watching that presidential.
Oh yeah.
The numbers come through on Fox News, and all of a sudden we're like, we don't have a president at the end of the night. And how long it took for us to have our president.
Well, and I think it all came down to, Broward or county in Florida.
Yeah, it was a county in Florida, and the Chad, the hanging chads
or the dimpled chads, or the not committed chads. Like there were all these terms,
and then they were examining them, and then they had to examine. I mean, it was just a whole big mess. And then the Supreme Court.
And one could say that there was a conspiracy to make sure we never use paper ballots again. So, but we still do.
Well, and that's just another thing. I think we're going to have a lot to talk about this upcoming election. I'm concerned with the mail and absentee ballots, because for already finding that somebody sent me a check, and it was cashed in Atlanta, Georgia. So I think we're going to have, I had problems in, they shut down so many distribution centers. I know 20 states were affected by that. That makes your mail slow.
So I've heard the idea being thrown around by former President Trump that they may try to push for same-day elections. Now, I don't know if we can do anything about that right now. Maybe that can happen in the future, but same-day paper ballot elections would be very interesting, because one, you possibly disenfranchise military that's overseas, so you still have to have
and I think the military
are mail-in.
They're first and foremost that should vote. The military, their vote more than anybody else's should be counted.
For sure. And so I don't know if there's a way for them to do it same day or not, but if you do something like that, it's going to be a lot of counting. We're not going to have an answer at the end of that day. It's going to take like another week to potentially collect everything. But I hear funny things around elections. I hear funny things around names being used. This last election, I've mentioned to Nick before, I took 5 classes of advanced stats in my master's program. Statistics can be changed any way you want them. You can manipulate them. But one thing with stats is anytime you get over 100%, something's wrong, because it's not possible to have more than 100% of a thing. So if you have 1 apple, you can't have 1.5 apples. It's not possible.
And that's true, because my husband's always like, when somebody says, yeah, I'll give you 110%, my husband's like, well, it's 100%. You can't go over 100%.
Can't go over it, right? It's just a euphemism, I think is the term when you say it that way. But the reality is that last election we had, whether you could prove anything or not, there were places that had 100% of like the rest home vote. And they've never had that before. There were places where they had over 100% vote in a county and other things that were kind of screwy. And a lot of that's just stuff never made it to courts to really be explored or whatever else. And it probably wouldn't
or even the people that were excluded from voting, because you had a lot of senior citizens fearful of COVID back then, and they didn't want to go to the polls, and yet they didn't have the absentee ballots at that time either. So because they didn't get them and they didn't put them in mail at time, but they were afraid of COVID, so they just didn't go to the ballots.
You had that, and even in the 2016 election, I had just moved from Utah to California, and California did not see my Utah driver's license as valid ID to register to vote. So I was not allowed to vote, nor was my wife in that election. And
see, at the DMV, when we moved back home from Georgia to Maine again, they did that for me at the DMV when I got my driver's license. I was able to register to vote.
So I could not get a license in California. I had to go get a passport so that I could get a California driver's license. I don't know what the freak's up with that law. So it wasn't an issue of not registering, Nick, because they can do that. They did not count my license from Utah as ID in order for them to even issue I had to go get a passport.
That's crazy. Thank you, Tiger, for Surfer's $20 super chat.
Awesome, Tiger.
But he just said Tesla. What's funny is Tesla or Elon Musk has committed to so much money per month to the Trump campaign.
Yes. So is it 45 million per month, right?
That's what he said. And then I think that he said not completely 45,000, but it goes to show that, even though he has the EV cars in that business, he's still behind Trump, even though Trump is saying, we won't have all EV cars by 2030.
Well, I think Elon's a very smart guy.
Yeah, he is.
He understands that if we, like in the state of California, I want to say we're at about 32 million people. If we have mandated EVs by 2030 or 2035, the grid can't even do it. We're going to completely shut off the entire state. Elon.
And then how much is that going to cost to get enough chargers for people to be able to charge their car?
You just can't. There's no infrastructure for it, right? You can't do
it. And then, I didn't know this either, but we would have to have infrastructure as far as bridges. We'll say the Mack trucks, they were EVs. The battery would be too heavy.
It's true. So I'm going to flash the tigers up here for just a second. If you guys read that there, he's basically saying kind of the whole Hydra takeover in, I think it was Captain America Civil War, if I remember right. It does feel a lot like that. And what's interesting is we have different people coming out and speaking out about this. So, it feels like something like that is kind of happening, but there's cracks in this strategy and it's starting to break down a bit. I think Elon Musk is one of those things. He made his wealth off of, kind of the green movement, and people that are more liberal have really supported, at least been more of the early adopters with hybrids and EVs. And a lot of them, when Elon Musk took over Twitter and turned it into X, were really mad at him. And they said, I'm going to sell my Teslas and get rid of it. And, all of a sudden everything starts becoming partisan instead of bipartisan. So, and I know a lot of conservatives that are boycotting Disney because they don't agree with all the Disney stuff. And we live in this interesting time, Nick, where we're starting to realize we can vote with our dollars. It's not always just a ballot.
Yeah, that's true.
And at the same time, it's hard. You can't.
And when it hits their pocketbook, people listen, right?
It does. Yeah, it does. So you can't I find it becomes very hard to find everything you buy and purchase or wear. What their political statement is and how you want to follow it or not follow it. But there are certain things and certain companies that take a big stand, and all of a sudden you can take a stand against them, voting with your dollars. So it happens on both sides, and it's interesting to see how that kind of goes. Another one was like Chick-fil-A had a conflict back in the day around, I think it was same-sex marriage, and then on the same time they close on Sundays, and so you had, you had
a movement that showed support for this company too.
It did.
So
and it backfired. So the people trying to ban them basically, or I forget the term. It's not necessarily ban, but take out Chick-fil-A because they didn't like what Chick-fil-A's policy was. It backfired, and it actually made Chick-fil-A even more successful.
Yes,
so it's interesting to see how that goes. Okay.
Yes.
So let's move off of that, unless anybody else has, maybe if another comment comes up, we could hit it. But
I mean, there's just so much we could talk about. We could be on here all night. I mean, there's just going to be so much.
So
what
I want to shift
it,
yeah, go ahead.
We need to save some of it because we have what's going to be 3 months till November. So we'll be talking about this for a while.
We're not done. This could be a weekly topic easily.
Yes.
I think there'll be enough going on weekly for this. And so I want to shift a little bit to what just happened with technology. And you know, I haven't had time to digest everything and understand exactly what happened, but basically CrowdStrike is a data company that does protection for cyber attacks and things like that. And they had an update that Microsoft automatically pushed out to its servers, and it affected a whole bunch of businesses all over the world. And so this is a business that is I would call this an SHTF. You know, maybe we'll come up with an SHTF scale someday, Nick, from like 1 to 10 or something. But the reason I call this an SHTF is it actually affected the entire planet. Or most
in banking. It was, I mean, it was financial. It was
in multiple industries, right? So it hit banks, credit card processors.
It hit my husband's bank, and I don't know the ins and outs. He hasn't discussed that with me, but so I do know it did, you know, hurt the banks, but that was only for a few hours.
So it was shorter with some, and then I know it hit hotels. When I checked into this hotel, they told me they were down for a few hours. It hit rental car companies, it hit airlines, and the airline that's been hit the worst so far that I know of is Delta. They're still canceling flights, even for tomorrow. So that's the airline I was on, and
you happen to be in
really
Atlanta hub. Atlanta is huge,
and I was in their main
Delta.
hub, and which became the worst place to be. It was hit the hardest. So if you go back to my last live, you can see the video line of the people. You know, there were hundreds and hundreds of people lined up to try to change their flights.
But you know, we have seen it worse. You know, and thank God for Delta Sky Club, because I mean, I remember having to stay in those, and I mean, it's nice to go into that instead of staying in the airport.
It is. So with what happened, I'm not looking at it going, okay, I'm going to cancel Delta. Well, that's what the term was, cancel. I'm hoping they'll do is, you know, compensate me for what I had to do. And so far, they've sent some miles out. They sent 20,000 miles out to me, my son, and my wife. And I still have now 2 nights of hotels I need to get reimbursed for. And then I've got to kind of figure out the rental car versus the flights, you know, a few different things. And it looks like they're going to be willing to work with people on it. But
yes, but the same situation, somebody that works for my husband, they were in Orlando, flew into Atlanta, and they were stuck. So they got a rental car and they're driving to Maine, and they're going to be here in a day or so, but they didn't want to wait for flight.
Yeah. So my situation, we left Saturday morning, and we got into Atlanta. And by the time you know, my wife kept asking, she said, should we do this? Are we going to get stuck in Atlanta? And I said, right now, it looks like we're okay. And, you know, so we decided to do it anyway. And we get out there and the flight's canceled. And what's weird is they never took the bags off the plane. They put them on the new plane, the plane we were supposed to go on. And somehow that plane made it to Orlando, yet it didn't have us on it. So I don't know what happened, but our bags were there Saturday night, and we didn't get here until yesterday morning at like 1 o'clock in the morning. But our situation was they canceled the flight, and then they automatically booked me. Since I booked through my company and my son and wife booked through separately, we weren't linked itineraries. They put us on different flights the next day on Sunday, and those flights got canceled. And then on Monday, they were putting us on you know, a different flight, and we just said, cancel it, forget it. We're going to find another way home. And I got a rental car, and I showed up. I had to do an Uber for 25 minutes to North Atlanta to get this rental car. And because most of them weren't allowing you to even sign up to do it in the first place for one way. And I get out there and they say, we're not doing one way. We're not going to honor this. And so I'm still waiting to see if they're going to refund my non-refundable $400 for the rental car. And I had to then go back and get another hotel. And then the next day I did it through Costco. I thought, hey, I should go try to do this through Costco. Let's try that one. And guess what? It worked. And we were able to get the rental car. They gave us a nice free upgrade at Alamo. And we drove 6 hours down to Orlando.
Yeah, that just sucks though. The drive, it's
a long drive. Well, and here's the thing. We pull over to this stop, and I don't realize that there's tolls all over Florida. I've never driven in Florida before.
Oh yes. So, oh my gosh, all the way up 95.
I had to hurry and buy and put a toll thing up, right? And so I'm like going through all these tolls.
You could do what I do. If I don't have the cash, they don't take check card. I just go through the Easy Pass, and they'll send me a bill in the mail.
Yeah, so they do that. I mean, I ended up getting the little thing, putting it up so we can use it since we're going to be going back up this next week too.
Yeah, but I mean, even driving to my sister's house, I have 2 tolls I have to go through, and I have to pay $1 each time, and that means each way.
And it's in the West, we don't have tolls that are. I mean, there's a couple for little short stints in California, but I don't know of any tolls in Utah, Arizona, or Nevada, and most of California you don't have tolls. So I'm just not used to seeing them. But anyway, we luckily dealt with that stuff. But it's one of those things that I had to be prepared for. So kind of a fun story. When I got to that rental car store where they said they would not take the rental or honor it, I said, I've got cash. Would you take cash? And she goes, no, the company won't do that. And I said, will you drive me for cash? And she goes, how much? And I said, $1,000. I just wanted to test it and see what she would do. And she's like, for $1,000, I might actually do that. Drive you down to Florida.
I'd drive you down. I'd fly down from Maine to drive you down there for $1,000.
There you go. So I wanted to see what it would be like and, how much she would take for it. But, the reason and I did not do that. It only cost us about, I think $280 to do the rental car through Costco. But, if you don't have the money, if you don't have the means to do certain things, you can't do it. You don't have those options. So you can bring a little bit of gold with you guys, little gram bars of gold. You can bring cash with you. You can have your credit cards. I did not bring my passports with me, but you can bring your passport in case there's an emergency and you have to go somewhere.
Speaking of
all
gold,
those things can help prepare you. Yep, go ahead.
Speaking of gold, today I sold some of my numismatic coins to buy pre-33 gold.
What did you buy? Or what did you sell? What did you buy?
I sold some walking liberties that I didn't need for my collection that were just duplicates. And I bought some, I think it was $5 Liberty heads.
Nice.
Graded, of course. So that way, in case my family or somebody has to sell it, they'll know what there's,
I think it's a great way to go, and I don't think my best ranking videos are on pre-33 gold.
But I got such a great deal on these that some of them were $100 less than what they scanned for.
That's awesome. And here's the thing: for those of you that are listening right now, pre-33 gold is on sale right now.
Yes,
so if you want to buy when things are low, this is the time to be buying pre-33.
Now, of course, right now, a 1/10 is going to be more gold, but the pre-33 with the prices the way they are, the premiums are not as high on the pre-33. So that's why and that's why it looks like it's cheaper. So right now, it's better to buy pre-33 if that's what you're into. Of course, some of the 1/10s probably will still be cheaper, but the premiums are so much lower on the pre-33. I mean, that's why I chose to go with pre-33.
I think that's great, Nick. And I'm looking to buy some more myself right now. I want to answer Tiger's question here real quick. What kind of silver and gold do you pack in your baggage for travel? So I'll tell you guys what I did on this trip. I don't normally do this, but I had 3 people with me. I actually brought a lot of cash. And then
do you guys not see? When I travel, I do carry some cash, but not a whole bunch of it because I don't want to be robbed. Do people still use traveler's checks? I remember my dad used to have those when we went on vacation.
I think you can still use them, but I think you're probably going to have to go to a bank to cash them.
Yeah, Right.
So,
But still.
so you could. So yeah. So here's the options. One is you can bring cash. Now, guys, if you're bringing a lot of cash, that's going to be the easiest thing for someone to take from you. So be careful. If you bring the cash, you need to make sure you're staying at a hotel or you use a safe deposit box at the hotel.
Right. I wouldn't be sleeping in the airport with a lot of cash where somebody, if you're sleeping, somebody can come grab your bag.
And
or, you know, I have
want to be walking the streets with like $500 in your pocket either. So, you know, put it into a safe place with you. Most people do not think people are carrying a lot of cash at an airport, so they're not necessarily looking to hold you up at either. Okay. So the other thing is when you go through the metal detectors, you go through the scanners, you want to keep that cash in your pocket, or you want to ask for a private screening at the airport. Okay. You don't want to be pulling a wad of cash out of your pocket and putting it on a tray or in your backpack, right? You can leave it in your backpack, but if it's a lot of cash, that backpack can walk off. So you need to be very careful too. As far as silver and gold goes, you know, I usually don't take a lot of silver with me because it's bulky. You know, I do know people that do take tubes of silver. Those are going to show up on a metal detector and freak out the security people. So those are, you're either going to have to open your bag in front of a bunch of people or you need to ask for private screening. What I have done in the past, though, is I've taken those little Volcombi, you know, grams of gold that come in like, you know, I think they come in like 10, 50, or 100 pieces, you know, 100 grams. And you can break those off and put those in a wallet or a purse.
And Tiger's done that too. I've seen a video that he did with
it's
Maples.
thin enough. You can do it and no one's going to know what it is, right? When it's like,
and they probably don't even know the worth of it, you know? People probably don't even know the value of that kind of stuff.
It's very true. So I think you can, I've done it multiple times, guys, to test it out myself and just to be safe. Now, by no means am I saying you need to take a whole lot of money with you when you're traveling. But if you're in a situation and ATMs don't work and you're far away and you don't have any friends or family where you're traveling to, and you don't have any cash and you don't have any precious metals, it's going to be hard. How do you prepare for that? How do you can't bring like a dugout bag with you normally. And that's another video I do want to do at some point, Nick, is talk about how to prepare for travel. And I need to think through that process myself. Like, you know, bringing umbrellas and, you know, you can't bring knives or guns with you on the plane. So then it comes down to what are some other things you can do for protection and, you know,
my daughter,
power outages, flashlights.
When we flew, she got mace past the security. It was in her pocketbook because it was on her keychain and she had her keys with her. So, you know, it's funny that they got mace through.
Yeah. So that shouldn't have happened. that was a failure on the TSA's part. But I think it's
premium. Oh my gosh. It would, what's a competitive premium to stacking gold? Okay. New to stacking gold. What is a competitive premium? Are you there? I can't hear you.
Me?
Okay. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So on, if I'm doing 1/10, I will not pay over 15% premium. And I really haven't gone through on how much of a premium I paid on the pre-33. I'd have to do the math.
Yeah, you have to look at it. Wait, with the pre-33, are you buying like MS 61, 62s, or are you buying higher?
No, I'm buying this one I bought was AU 58.
Okay. So a couple things on pre-33 gold, guys. When you get up into like the MS 64, 65, you're going to be paying massive premiums on those a lot of times, most of the time. Right now you can find some good deals on some of those, but those are coins that come after you've built your stack. That is more of like a high premium that's icing on the cake. And it's if you know what you're doing. Otherwise, you
right. And I want as much as I can buy, you know, for what and I traded. I didn't spend any cash. So on one coin, it was a AU 58, I believe it was. They gave it to me for $350 and it scanned for $475.
There you go. So
I mean, that's a deal I couldn't refuse.
Explain the scanning real quick, Nick.
This one was a PCGS, and I scanned the barcode.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's an app.
So it's
and
an app,
NGC also has the same app.
And it gives you a value for it.
Right, and of course it's a suggested value. I don't know how much.
They want to see your coin.
Oh well, it's going to be sent to me. I just purchased today.
So pre-33, I believe. Nick, what is the exact gold content on those? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember. It's less.
I know it's over 90, but it's less than 100%. There's some copper in there. But it's not like an American Gold Eagle where you get a 1 ounce of gold plus some copper and silver that takes up the composition and makes it a little bit heavier than an ounce. It's not the same. So I need to revisit that and make sure I've got the right number for that. I know it's more than 90%, but anyway, I like the pre-33 gold. You're getting history. You're getting something that if it's slabbed, it's verified, and then what you also verified.
Yeah. So I mean, because if you're passing it on to your family, it's certified. They won't have any issues or problems, and if they're uneducated about it, that does help them with it being certified.
So I know it's a little bit more than 90. Craig's saying it's maybe a little bit under 92%. So we'll have to double check that.
That's what I mean. That's what I kind of thought too. I just want to throw a figure out there, but I thought it was a little less than 90 too.
Yeah. So it's
well, it says I'm reading right now. It says they're 9. It says all coins minted pre-33 are 90 gold and 10 copper.
Okay, wait. What was that again?
I'm reading that all pre-33 gold is 90% gold and 10% copper.
Correct, but I know it's a little bit off. It's not exactly perfect to that.
Okay, so then probably the 92, but that's what I
think it's around like 92, yeah. So, but here's the thing. It probably depends on the batch, right? We have much better smelters now.
Okay, so yes, it's nearly 22 karat. So there you go.
Okay, there you go. So anyway, I think looking at AU for pre-33, I don't see any problem with that at all. I don't see any issues with doing
that. And you know, I think
you don't pay higher premiums for it. As long as you're within a normal premium, I think it's great.
And I wish I did the math on how much of a premium that was, which I don't even. I mean, I paid less than what it's worth, so I didn't pay much of a premium. And I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of numismatic coins that is not part of a collection. And if they're not emotionally attached to it, they could sell and buy gold as well. Or even trade with your dealer.
So OC Stacker's got another number. I've also heard this number too, which is 96%.
I've never heard 96%.
Gold. I've heard that too, but I need to confirm it because I've heard 92, I've heard 90, I've heard 96.
Tiger put something up there. If you could put his comment on the screen. I think that's the same thing I read.
Okay. And it might be that we're all talking the same stuff, but it depends on the
financial success.
Okay. Depends on the year, it looks like. But you know what I would say as far as graded gold goes, you just need to check your prices, guys. You need to do a little bit of searching around on that and make sure that you're all good. Okay. OC sent me a whole thing here. He wants to make sure we know where he's at on this. So let me just pull this up real quick.
And I think I've noticed a shift in numismatics. I think numismatics has slowed down a bit right now, and I'm seeing a lot more stacking than I am seeing collecting.
All right, we don't have years on there, but there's some more data for you. And you know, when you have things that are graded, I really don't think they're going to go into a barter situation where you're going to be dealing with weight and stuff so much. I know Yankee says they're going to crack all those things out. It depends on what the SHTF situation is and how long it is,
right?
And if there's any kind of a market.
And for bartering, that's what I have my constitutional silver for. My gold is not to barter. And then you know, and a lot of my numismatic coins that are graded and that I have that, you know, I wouldn't use those for bartering either because they have the numismatic value along with the coin. So
exactly. So my pre-33 gold is to use as once society kind of figures its stuff back out, or it's to pass on to my kids. So
right.
you know, I don't see that's you know, I don't. What are you going to do with a gold buffalo and you need some food? I mean, that's like taking in a massive amount of money to get something that's going to be a lot less than that. That's what the silver's for.
Yeah, Steve, I would not break the gold coins out of the holder. Of course, I'm going to break every mint set I can find. There is exceptions. I do have exceptions to the rule because there are some that are very worth more intact, but a majority of them are not.
So if if it's 100 years or older, keep it in the case, guys. Do not crack it out. If it's more modern, you can do whatever you want with it. It's not going to be as big of a deal. Okay, give or take a few years, right? But if it's a mint set you bought last year, crack it open.
Yeah. Vincent, I mean, I've changed over the years depending. There was one year I was probably heavier in stacking silver. I'm right now concentrating on gold. I'm more concentrated on gold than I am silver.
And for me, it changes throughout. I've been going gold, and then I started going to get to more silver to catch up, and now I'm starting to go back more towards gold.
I constantly reevaluate what I'm doing, and I see what's working and what's not working. And maybe one day we can put our charts up and what we do, the records that we keep to go through Surfer.
Yeah,
to
we
show
should
how
do that.
we analyze our stacks or what we're doing.
For me right now, there's two kinds of gold I'm looking at. One is fractional, so 10th ounces or grams, and then the second one is pre-33 gold. And I'm looking
I'm not
lower end stuff.
If I'm not pre-33, if I'm just looking at gold, I'm not going to buy a gram. I'm not going to buy the 1/20th. I'm going to buy the 1/10th because the premiums are too high on the grams and the 1/20th because
it all depends on price, right? To me, it doesn't matter if it's a gram, if it's a 10th ounce. I'm looking at the premium. So it depends on what I can find.
The premium on the gram and on the 1/20th, because maples, they'll come in 1/20th, are extremely high. I'm talking 20 to 30% premium, and I'm not doing that.
Yeah, don't buy that. I'm saying if you can find a gram at the same premium as a 10th ounce.
And usually, but you know, it's hard because once you start getting into the smaller fractional, the higher the premium.
It is. But you've got to shop around. You got to look for the right thing. You've got to know your pricing. You got to look for sales.
You got to learn how to do your premiums too, because if you don't know how to do the math, then you don't realize what you're paying for premiums.
Especially with grams, it's different, guys. You got to have a translating calculator out on that. At least that's the easiest way to do it. You can also.
Well, I mean, I have to write it all down to kind of see it too, like because you have to subtract this and you have to divide it by this.
Yeah, I have an app on my phone that'll go from troy ounces to grams, and then you just take that percentage, multiply that by the price, and you can see the premium that's coming off of it. Let's see, what do we have here? Okay, we got another couple shout outs here real quick. So Tiger, you guys can go check out Tiger's video here. So thank you for the super chat. And he's got a gravity test that proves it's 90% gold. Okay. So we've definitely got conflicting things there. And then we've got a super chat here from PMG, Poor Man's Gold, Silver Stack. I'm going heavy on junk dimes and 25 cents. I agree on that. I just bought a large bag of 25-cent quarters that are, I think they were all pretty much between 1958 and 1964. So a newer bag of them, Nick. And I tested every one of them because I bought it from a local person. And they had me meet them at their house, which I thought was interesting. And they had their friend there that was an ex-cop just to make sure everything was up and up. But I tested every one of them. And, the weight never came out right, which I thought was really was really bizarre there, but that must be because some of the quarters were, worn, which starts throwing all of the weight off. So I individually tested those, and they all came out looking good. But I like dimes the most. Dimes are the best, but they also come with a higher premium if you're buying online. So if you have a choice between dimes, quarters, and half dollars, I'd always go with the dimes. It's a way to get to your smallest denomination, but not if you're going to be paying a large premium higher than the other junk or constitutional silver. Oh, Nick, what do you like? Oh, we might have lost Nick. Well, we've got her face on here. She's just taking a break. Yes, Nick is back. Nick never really left. She's just, the summer's hard for us to do schedules.
Hi there. Can you hear me now?
Now she's back.
Okay. So I prefer the rosy dimes over the mercs because the mercs sometimes are more worn. So the silver content goes down a bit. So, but I prefer dimes over quarters just because I take less room, but I will buy quarters depending on the price.
But I have to tell you, Nick, though, I was able to buy, I think it was around $80 of mercs that were BU.
Oh, well, I mean, and that's a different
$8 face, which was,
of course, that's different. If you were able to get them that look good.
You do it. You just, you don't bother. And the thing is, they had pretty much the whole silver content. They were BU. They looked like they've been sitting in a bank vault the entire time. So
the last time I bought and I wanted to say Tiger's video. I meant to say this. Tiger's video proving he did an experiment with about the being tracked on ASEs. That was good.
Okay, so I'm looking for one comment from OC here. He's got people. Let's see.
And also, Joseph asked too if we would travel with ASEs to spend, but I wouldn't because they're going to take it as the face value, not for what it's really worth.
No, I wouldn't. And so just to be clear, you're less likely to get anybody to take gold and silver when you're traveling or trying to barter. It's not the easiest thing to do, guys. You got to find someone that understands what it is. You've got to find someone that's willing to be educated on it and believe you. I've got a video dropping tomorrow where I was at the mall. It's an outdoor mall in Southern California, asking people about gold and silver. My editors did an awesome job on it, Nick. You're going to love the videos. So part 1's going to drop tomorrow, and then part 2 will drop next week. I'm not sure which day yet. But, it took
Let me just give them an FYI.
–
Nick doesn't have any editors, so sorry in advance. But I don't have any editors. It's just goes in.
Well, you don't do a lot of videos. You do more live streams, though, for the most part.
Yeah, I do live streams. I'm not into videos. No, I don't do much of those.
Yeah, so this is going to be fun, though, because it shows how some people have no clue and other people have a little bit of an idea, and then other people actually know about it. So I was able to get someone to buy some of my silver. I got other people to trade and other people to kind of figure out, would you rather have a $5 bill or a silver quarter?
That's cool.
So we had some fun with it. But what I want to bring up from that is you're more likely going to need to go to a coin store to trade your gold and silver for fiat wherever you're located. Sometimes you're going to be able to trade with it. So don't think if you pull out a whole bunch of ASEs, you're going to get people to go, oh yeah, that's worth $36. I'm going to give you $36 worth of stuff for ASE. It's a little bit more difficult than that.
So if anybody's interested in the formula, I have it if they want to learn how to calculate their own premiums.
Yeah, we should do a little short on that, Nick. Or maybe you should. That'd be great.
We could do that. I have a whiteboard too, believe it or not.
Yeah, I have a couple. They're just not here.
Well, I used it. We did a Morgan 2021 and 2023 debate. SW and I did that a couple years ago. So I had my whiteboard.
Yeah. And then just going back to Joseph Lopez's on the ASEs too. If you're traveling with silver, I'd bring your
list to me.
Bring your least expensive, just generic silver. I wouldn't bring anything premium with you.
Hi, Lisa. What does OC want me to send? Which list? Oh, the formula. Gotcha. Yep, I can do that. Hi.
Okay.
L. Yes, I can. I can email that to you. It's very. It's not hard, but I have to look at it when I'm doing it to remember.
So that's kind of the SHTF conversation, guys. I guess the main thing to say is now's the time to get prepared. You need, in my opinion, you need precious metals. You need silver for food and for barter. You need gold for larger items that you may need to buy and to reestablish wealth if real estate takes a big dip, or let's say you have a bunch of money in the stock market, the stock market takes a massive dip. You want gold to shore those things up. And then you want food, you want water, shelter, all of that stuff. But when you're traveling, it gets trickier because you don't have all those other things with you.
But with that being said, you need cash. Don't think that we don't need cash, because on this trip you needed cash. None of the stuff that we just talked about was going to help you other than cash.
No, I mean, I might have been able to talk her into gold and showing her some stuff on my phone. But if the internet was not working and I needed someone to drive me somewhere or go somewhere or get food or other things like that, you're going to have a hard time convincing someone that little tiny piece of gram of gold is worth anything. It's going to be hard getting them to do that.
Yeah.
Cash is going to be the king when things fall apart, at least initially.
At least right now we know, because that's what we go by, is we go by cash. So that's, not many people are going to barter silver with you. Not many people are going to barter the gold. I mean, they will one day. I think we'll have more, but
for sure. And I think when you get into, let's say it's an SHTF situation where there's no food coming for a extended period of time, like a month or two. I'm not trading
everybody
my
that
food
wants the formula, if you don't mind emailing me and saying, send me the formula, so that way Nick. I don't forget who wants it.
And so you guys, you're gonna want cash. You're going to want to have food stores. If you're traveling, you definitely want to have some extra cash with you. Earlier, Chet Stacker had mentioned traveler's checks. Nick did too. You can do that. You can take them to the banks. But what if the bank's closed for 2 weeks when you're traveling? You still want to have some currency with you. So, my dad always taught me to have a little extra currency in case I had a flat tire and I needed to pay to get a ride somewhere. What if your app's not working? What if your phone's not working? The internet's down? It's always good to have a little extra things with you, a little stash in your wallet or purse of a $50 or $100 bill, just to get you out of a tight situation.
No, I always have to put in for the formula premiums though, Tiger, the amount of gold, like whether it's 1/10, 1/2, 1/4, 1 ounce. That's all part of the formula as well. To see what each individual fractional gold, how much of a premium you're paying.
So Nick, here's a question. Okay, so 2 questions. One we have from Vincent here. Is 10.8 ounces of gold enough? Vincent, that is a very personal question. I don't know your situation. 10.8 ounces of gold is great. Congratulations.
That's a lot.
A lot of people don't have anywhere near that amount. But it depends on what you're trying to do with that gold and what it's going to shore up. So, it all depends.
How much? It all depends. How much debt do you have? Are you spending all your cash into putting it into precious metals? Are you diversified? There's just a whole number of questions that I ask myself when I'm determining on how much I have, or how much silver is enough, or how much gold is enough.
So I think, it's a hard question to completely answer. Some people you'll talk to will say, hey, only have bullion or only have pre-33. I like a mix. The other thing you'll hear is, what's the true value of gold if we had to pay off all the national debt? I've heard prices from $42,000 to $77,000 for an ounce. So then some people will take that formula and create one and say, for every $50,000 of net worth you have or debt that you want to pay off, get an ounce of gold. There's a lot of different formulas that are out there.
It is easy, Tiger, but I just have it written down so I don't forget. But yes, it's not hard to do at all.
No, but Tiger, to that point, you have to understand what the standards are. So you need to be able to compare it to what it traditionally is, as well as to what it's doing right now. So if you're looking at you know, a 10th ounce of gold, like Nick said, she doesn't want to go over 15%. So if prices start moving up and all of a sudden that starts going to an 18% premium, it's outside of what she normally likes to buy in the range, even though all the other ones are for an 18% premium.
And you know, I could show you all the way from when I began with gold, that I could show you that I haven't spent over 15% of a premium, because it has gone up. I saw it, remember, it was 27, almost into 30% premium on the 1/10. And I'll tell you what, if you shop around and you ask people questions, you can find a premium that you're comfortable with.
Yep. And I want to address this real quick too, Nick, because I think this is important. If gold goes to $70 an ounce, it's because we've paid off all of our debt, we've revalued the currency. You'll still be able to buy things. It does not mean that you're going to have 70,000 times how many ounces of gold in today's purchase power. That's not what that means. Everything's going to shift. The people that don't have the gold aren't going to be able to buy stuff. You're going to be able to still buy things. Now, certain things could be on sale. If it ends up like the Weimar Republic, you might be able to buy a house for a few ounces of gold, for example. But when it comes down to things like food, it's still going to be extremely expensive, and you're not necessarily going to be jet setting with a private jet now all of a sudden. It all depends on how it goes down, what the circumstances are. But there is going to be inflation that kicks in with that. So, you know, it's $70,000 gold. You're probably buying a steak for, you know, $500. That's just my guess. But it's not going to just be all of a sudden you're rich. And so that's why I think you need to be careful with gold and silver stacking. Is don't do it because you're trying to become rich. Do it because it's real money. It's a great way to save, and it has the ability to keep up with and then often outpace inflation.
Establish your goals before you even get started, or you're going to be disappointed. Understand what you're doing and what you want to accomplish from the get-go, and always analyze what you're doing. I can't tell you how often I do that, because
so people are asking where I'm at. I'm in a hotel in Orlando. So,
and I'm sitting by the pool in Maine with my hair soaked and still in my swimsuit.
That's awesome.
Because I got out of the pool for it's nice and hot, so we were swimming.
So Lynette Zhang, I'm hoping to get her on my channel here soon. I've been talking to her company a little bit. I'm working on understanding their formulas a little bit more on how they do things, and she's got some great advice. I
have also have a special guest too that is working with me that you guys will be so surprised I'm going to get on my channel.
Awesome. I'm excited.
I can't wait, because I've heard from they've reached out to me, so now we're just trying to find a date.
And he
said he can give me.
Oh, that's awesome, Nick.
So yes, his manager reached out and said yes, he wants to do it.
Okay.
He can give me an hour, and he's looking at some dates that we'll be able to do this. And they asked me because I think there's a 3-hour time difference, because I think he's in Las Vegas and I'm up here. So.
Well, when that happens, let me know. We can are you going to do it live or recorded?
We're going to do it live. Me and live. I don't do love.
We can help mod for you.
That would be great. Well, I hope you're going to be a part of it, because I'm sure you'll have.
Well, if you want me on there, I'll come on. But yeah, let me know.
Absolutely.
Happy to do either way.
So we're looking within the next month or so.
Okay, is Yankee in here? I don't know. I have Yankee with question marks. I don't know what that means.
Okay, I can't hold my secret. Can I tell him who, or should I wait?
I would wait. Let's get some.
Okay.
We'll get some thumbnails created, and then we'll do some advertising for it.
And we'll say that. Can I just give a hint?
You can give a hint. Yeah.
He was at the Republican National Convention speaking.
I think it's going to be awesome, Nick.
Yeah.
We ought to see if we can get a few more of those people to come on too. That'd be great.
Well, I think once we get this person, I think that we might be able to get other people like that.
That would be great. All right, I'm just looking at the comments here real quick to see.
No, it's not. I will say this: it's not President Trump. But he's okay. I will say this: he's a close personal friend of the former President Trump.
So we're gonna have someone on there. You guys, they're just gonna keep guessing until they get to Mr. T.
Yeah, I can't, because then I'll want to tell my secret.
I know. So we're gonna get at least one of those people that was speaking, and maybe a few more of them down the road would be great. But here's the thing, though. I mean, I've never watched a convention, and I watched a couple of the segments of that convention, and that thing was pumping. I mean, people were excited.
I can tell you the convention before, the year before wasn't, or the 4 years before wasn't like it was this time around. I mean, there was a totally different atmosphere, 100% with this convention.
So you have that going. I know now your people are just guessing crazy crap. I didn't even watch the convention.
Well, he was at the convention. He's a personal friend, and well, I'm going to get an hour with him, and we're not going to talk. We probably will talk about the convention, but we'll talk about how he handles his finances and what he does.
Yeah. And one of these days, maybe we'll get Marie Osmond on just for fun. And we'll just drive Tiger crazy.
It's Richard Simmons.
I think he passed, actually, Nick.
He did, yeah.
So I don't think we can get him on, at least until we get some kind of an AI Richard Simmons that comes on.
Right.
So that'd be fun.
My name is
there you go. So the last thing I'll just say, when we look at precious metals, because we kind of hit that segment too with you guys, Nick and I have a whole bunch of videos called Coin Talk, and we're going to be doing more of that. And we're kind of debating on whether we're going to do like a special channel on that. So that's something we've got to figure out, Nick, if we're going to do a new channel just on Coin Talk.
And just do the coin and interviews.
Yeah, and just do interviews on it. So we may end up doing that. But
well, and then also we'll discuss what we have.
Oh, for sure. There'll be a lot of commentary on it. We'll hit a lot of subjects, but we have a lot of videos. If you guys, most of you that are watching probably watch the channel already, or both of our channels. We have a lot of great content on there. You can see like Silver University, Silver 101, Gold 101. There's a lot of different things to learn about stacking. Excuse me. Go check those out. Check out our videos. At least I have a playlist that's Coin Talk with Nick. I think we've got most of them in there, but
I mean, I'm a hot mess when it comes, I'm just basic. I'm live streaming. I don't do all the pretty thumbnails. That was all Surfer, and I don't do the list or anything like that, because whatever is on my channel is just me. So that, you
just got to figure out what works, guys. But here's the deal. Get prepared. I think between now and this time next year, I think we're going to see multiple SHTF type situations. Okay. So when I say that doesn't mean a comet hits the planet and 95% of the people die. Okay. An SHTF to me is anytime something happens you were not expecting, and it's something that you could potentially prepare for. Sometimes they're not things you can prepare for, and you just have to.
I can't do fireworks right now. Oh gosh, I wish I could.
Okay, try it. Yep.
Well, I need to do my thumbs up. My camera's not on. I mean, I found out how I did all that stuff, and I mean, when I did it the first time, and SPB was on the channel, and you were, and I was like, oh my gosh, the fireworks come up.
It scared you so much.
I looked around.
Did you go back and watch it to see how it happened?
No, yes, I know how it happened. I can do balloons. I can do confetti. I can do like I'm at a rock concert. I know all kinds of tricks.
Is it visual or is it typing something?
No, I'm not typing anything. It's my hand motions, and that's what triggered it. So we'll have to do that because I can't. Tiger, stop! Tiger, stop! Stop! Stop it! Because when I have a live stream and people see me in person, I'm going to do it again. So stop it. Don't tell.
Tiger.
But that was
you can't
the
give away
freaky
trade secrets, man. No trade secrets. But yeah, we'll have to show that video one of these days, Nick, because that was funny. You thought you broke it.
He's telling secrets. Stop it. Oh, somebody, so let's address this comment. Let me see where it was. It says, I don't
now
think
they're putting bad comments in there. Guys, be nice.
What?
Family show.
The trick is the eye roll? Maybe.
Yes, be nice, guys.
It could be. I don't really care. I don't think Trump can cure the financial illness of this country as great as he is. And I saw somebody ask that.
It depends on what you mean by that. There's no easy way out of it at this point.
No, but I think. But okay, so I think he can make it a lot better.
Stop the bleeding?
Just like with NAFTA, he stopped that trade deal. That was a big help for the United States as far as and bringing jobs back to America. I mean, there's things that he can put in place and policies can put in place that will start to make it better. But right now inflation's so off the charts. It's going to take a minute. It's not going to be instant.
So my thought on that, Nick, is you can't fix it. We have printed too much money and we're in too much debt. So you can't, there's not a switch you can flip on and off and fix this thing. You have to go through some hard times. We've been kicking the can down the street for a very long time. And every time we do that, it becomes worse and worse.
Right.
And worse.
But there are things that he will do and have done that will help and will make it better. It's not going to fix it. No.
I think he can stop the bleeding. And then yes, I think he can make it so going forward, it's better. But
because look at the new Green Deal. All the new Green Deal is for us to be paying money. It's just costing us more. I mean, that's helped, So, and then NAFTA, he stopped that trade deal. With trade with China.
You've got things like the UN. You've got things like NATO that cost a lot of money that we're paying.
Well, NAFTA is what Bill Clinton signed. Bill Clinton signed that trade deal, and so did I think Bush. He kept it going, and Trump stopped NAFTA, and that was a big, huge trade deal.
It was, and all those things were sold to us as it's going to make everything better, and all it did is it took all the manufacturing jobs out of the country.
Right, but yeah, no, he's not going to fix things. We're so far down that rabbit hole there. I don't know if he could ever fix it, but he can put things in place that can start making it better for us.
Okay, the stream moved too fast on me. Okay, so this one here, default reset gold standard. So what I'm hearing out there when I talk to a lot of people smarter than me that have been in this industry a lot longer, like Andy Schechtman, for example, there's a lot of conversation around being able to have a digital currency that is backed by commodities, maybe all of it's gold, maybe it's a partial amount of gold, or maybe it's pegged to it. And that's one way you can stop the bleeding. The only way we can completely get out of this is if we have a lot more gold than we tell people that we have, and we're able to create additional industry and manufacturing and bring all the business back home. I just don't see it. I don't see a way that he can fix everything without us going through some hard times. If you have gold and silver, I believe you're going to come out a lot better on the other end. Cryptocurrencies may be another thing that will help. I can't tell you for sure, but people having things like Bitcoin could also be beneficial. Maybe not. Maybe that goes to zero. But I don't think gold and silver are going to zero. I just don't ever see that happening.
John Jacobs found a beautiful, let me see if I can read this here. Is it 960? What? I found a beautiful proof cam diamond a roll. Didn't even have to crack that one out. I'll crack them all for you. I used to have so many mint sets sent to me just to crack open.
Well, hold on to them. We're going to do, we should do like a weekly crack on the coin.
I know I missed it. I haven't cracked any open in a while. Okay,
we'll
so Craig, I have a lot of.
We'll do a compilation of you cracking a bunch of them. That'd be fun. A short.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I have a symphony one time where I just kept cracking and cracking and cracking. It's awesome.
Like I'll have my editors do that. We get a whole bunch of your cracking videos. We'll make something really fun and put it to music.
That'll be fun. I think I made some shorts or something because I mean, I just have so much fun with it, and I love the sound, and I love it when, you know, it's just my thing.
So,
Craig, I would have loved, Craig, that is a topic that I would love to discuss, and I have a lot of opinions on, but I don't know if I would do it on this forum.
So Joe Silver says, Nick, cryptocurrency is for fools, Tide Pod eaters, and guys who cut off. Okay, we're not going to go any further. I didn't read that part.
Huh?
All right, man. I didn't read that whole thing before I put it up there.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah, well, we took that off. But anyway, Tide Pod eaters maybe, but you know, crypto is something that I do not like in the long term. I do think it's going to cause us issues. And I do think it's something that leads to the currencies, the beast currencies, things like that, that I don't want to be a part of. In the short run, if we see President Trump get elected and we see him going and doing some kind of a reserve currency with Bitcoin, you're probably going to see prices go up. You're probably going to see more adoption of it. So in the short term, I think you can play it. I think you can make money from it. I personally will not be storing my wealth in it. I dabble in it. I put my wealth in gold and silver. And that's what I do there. I put my investments in real estate and in the stock market. And yes, I know the stock market can go down, and I watch things closely. But I do multiple kinds of investing as well.
Yeah, I'm not too much into crypto. I put in some money that I was okay with losing if I did lose it, and then I cashed it out and haven't done it since.
Exactly. So here's the thing too, guys. When you're, in my opinion, if you're, yeah, I know, it's Joe Silver, you stinker. When you guys are doing more risky investments, like say the stock market and equities, or you're doing more risky investments like crypto, which is a risky investment, guys. We've seen it go up, we've seen it go down, we've seen it go up, we've seen it go down. I always hedge that with gold and silver. So I always make sure that I can afford to lose what I put in there down to zero, or I don't invest it. When I'm buying gold and silver, it is money. I don't need to hedge my gold and silver with anything else because it's money.
But all my money's not tied up into gold, you know, precious metals. It's diversified.
But that's because you're investing in other things, right, Nick? Which is different than, I look at gold and silver is wealth insurance, as barterability money, and I look at it as where I put my savings. I don't invest in gold and silver, maybe a little bit, but not very much. You know,
Craig says that he puts his money in assets that makes him money even when he sleeps. And I choose and I say the same thing, and that for me is dividend stocks. And again, I don't put all my money in the stock market either, but I do put it in commodities that that are, you know, dividend based. Because then that way it's still rolling over and buying stocks.
Yep.
And so 949, that's Surfer. I'm at my house. Surfer's in a hotel right now.
Yeah, that's me. I've got a lot of people over here, and it's the only place I can be right now. Sorry, guys.
And then one other thing too, let's address Joseph here. Now I got to get going. It's 11 o'clock. My daughter just got home, and I'm going to check to see how she went to a concert today. So I'm curious how she had a good time.
Real quick on this one though, Nick, like, I know a lot of people are afraid of the stock market. They're pulling their money out, guys. Like, I'm not telling you to go do that and, you know, in a fast motion, but slowly. Some people are doing that. It's all about risk mitigation, and it's understanding how much you have, how risky it might be, what kind of stocks you're in.
You know, look at the companies. How long has the company been in business? You know, one for me is Exxon. And if you look at their history, Exxon's been, and you know what? You can't look at how much you're gaining every single day. You don't need to look at that every single day, because back in 2020, it had gone all the way down to $30 a share when it had been all the way up to $80 a share. So at that point, if you sold everything, you lost money. But if you kept it in, you gained.
It's true. And one thing I'll tell you is there's been times where I have panicked and taken money out of the stock market, and it's cost me a lot of money. There's been other times where I have.
I swear I'm going to punch him in the face.
Tiger?
Yeah, I'm going to punch him.
Tiger. Did you show him, Nick? Did you show him some of the tricks?
No, but I think he knows, but I'm going to punch him in the face. Whose birthday is today? Happy birthday, buddy.
Buddy, happy birthday, man. I thought he was older than 6. Okay, what did OC say here? Okay, so guys, look, downward spirals maybe not exactly the term. It is
for
correct.
Me too, something for me too. I think that we need to all chill out too. If I would like to know what the presidential nominee Kamala Harris is gonna what her policies are gonna be. We haven't heard anything about what she's gonna do if she became president. So that's something I'm waiting, and I can't wait to see, because I think silver and gold prices, spot price, will be affected.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess it's a bunch of the same stuff we've already been doing. Maybe
I think it's
maybe different. But here's the thing: we don't know. She hasn't said anything. There's no policies, no discussion.
No, but
there's
if we can go back and we can look when she ran for president the first time, you can read a lot into that.
You can see some of that, yeah. I know it's not going to be a strong border. I'll put it that way.
I have a 1955 Lincoln red double die. Should I get it graded? It's AU condition. Thank you. I would have to look it up. I mean, I know there's a lot of it. It depends on condition. Some of them could be worth a lot of money depending on condition.
So thank you for the super chat, Nick. Is that something you would be able to look up and see?
Well, I'd have to look at the coin too, because I mean, a lot of people get grade happy, and sometimes it's just not worth it.
Have you ever graded stuff you wish you didn't grade?
Oh my God. That's a part of my journey in my early beginning. I lost so much money on grading coins because I was grade happy, thinking everything that I had should be graded and worth money. And also listening to YouTubers like us telling me that I should have it graded as well. And they didn't give me great advice. So I would have to look at the coin myself and see it in person, or, a picture of it.
Okay, now Tiger's got one. We got to answer this one, and then we are going to call it a night here, guys. Because Nick does need to get onto a few things. Everyone, okay, Tiger. Now Tiger's tricking me putting this up here. The
yes, I will be doing a live stream shortly with Tiger, and that'll be fun. And also, Surfer, we have the hair. Your hair looks great tonight, by the way.
My hair looks great.
Your hair looks great. So I'll just give everybody a hint. I cut my hair. I did.
Well, Nick, you're going to have to, because not everybody's on here that's going to watch that one. Do you have a wig you can put on and then just take the wig off and surprise us?
No, well, I mean, I got it cut 4.5 inches.
All right.
But what's funny is I came home and my husband didn't even notice. So you can't even notice I cut my hair.
It was that long?
It was that long. So I've been doing live streams since I've had it cut, and nobody's noticed at all.
Well, should I do like blonde tips or something, to make it kind of fancy?
Yeah, I wish I would. If I could get a hold of your hair, I could give you blonde tips myself. It would be so fun. So fun. Oh, I'd love to get you in like one of those caps.
All right, put a 1 in the chat if you guys want to see Surfer with blonde tips.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so funny. You would be like a part of a boy band. You're in Orlando. That's what all the boy bands start.
Oh man. I don't know. Tiger's been trying to get me to wear a tiara for like a year. Okay, 2 is no. So L says no. Save the hair.
Gold silver's down to $27.97. I thought it was $28.39.
It's dropping like crazy today.
But I'm not surprised. I mean, I really didn't think that we were going to see it over 30 for very long. I mean, to me, it's no surprise.
Look at that.
Isn't silver like? Okay, he keeps putting this in. We need to address this here. Isn't silver like physical metal, like buying Blu-ray and DVDs? What?
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. That's why I passed up on it, Joseph. I don't know what you mean. I think maybe he's comparing physical this to media. Crypto. Maybe he's talking about that versus having your movie in the cloud or something.
Yeah, see, busy opening it.
I think OC should get some blonde tips. I'm only doing blonde tips if OC does
well,
it.
Well, he needs to do a face reveal before he does anything.
And he has to do a face reveal too.
For all we know, he could have, a bald head. We don't know.
Yeah, he's totally bald, guys. He has no hair whatsoever, except for a ponytail coming off the back. It's like this ponytail.
Oh, really? So he's got business in the front and party in the back. Oh my gosh, that is
business in the front, party in the back. It's like
I just threw up in my mouth a little bit when I said that. Oh my god!
I think it's like a 4-foot long ponytail.
Oh, are you kidding me? Oh my word! I mean, if I can braid your hair, gross. Well, anyway, so I was disappointed. I really needed a good trim, and I usually do it around the summertime because my hair grows so fast. But I was so surprised. 4.5 inches is a lot. And I come home and I'm like, he goes, did you have your hair done? I was like, yeah, I did. You can't tell? He's like, nope.
Okay, so what is a 4? Is a 4 that surfer has to get a ponytail? What the heck is a 4? It's a 3. We got 3s and 4s in here now, Nick. Anyway.
I think, hi, Philip. I think probably the broke stacker. I hope I don't become a broke stacker. I mean, I have not been, to be honest with you though, I have not been able to purchase as much or, consistently as I had in the past because of other added extra stuff I've had to pay for. And so if I don't have the money to do it, I can't do it. And that's in a lot of, I was glad to be able to trade for gold too on some coins that I did not need in my collection.
And Nick, I fully believe that at the end of the year, we're going to see gold and silver higher than where it's at right now. I think we're going to see it
maybe
higher.
Gold, but I do not by the end of the year.
I know you think it's going to be what? What do you think? You think it's going to be below 25 or above 25?
I say in the 25 to 30 range, but I do not say over 30. I do not see it staying like over 30. And maybe, but I'm talking about the first of the year because everybody keeps saying, oh, it's going to be 32, 34. You know what? It let me down every single time. So I'm not going to predict.
I think it's got a chance of being right around 30. I don't know that it's going to be much higher than that.
I don't think it's going to be 30 and over. I think it'll be 30 and under.
Gold hit 2,500.
I think. But gold is different. Once it creeps up, it may come down just a little bit, but then it will hold.
So there's a lot of people saying 3K gold. If we see gold at 3K, I think we're probably going to see silver, moving up towards 30 because the ratio, it's just going to kind of sling it with the whole ratio. But gold getting up to 3,000 though, I think it's going to take something. I think it's going to take something to push it there. It doesn't want to quite hit 25 yet.
No, I'm saying this
you got the bricks, guys. Yes, we have the bricks potentially, but it's been a false start multiple years in a row.
And what are they doing? They're having a meeting. They're going to be voting on that something in November.
Well, in October 22nd is their big meeting.
Okay, and so October, not November. Okay.
Yeah, if they come out and say, this is where I get worried about our weakness as a country. If they think our president's weak, they may come out and try to topple us economically, and it could affect things. That could push gold up. It might even push gold up a lot higher than 3. It could push it up to
there's just a lot of variables right now that there's so many variables right now and so many things that have changed, and we'll say, shit hit the fan kind of like with this election and all that kind of stuff. And then what you've gone through, we have so many variables. Right now, I can't even begin to start calculating what I think gold and silver will be at the end of the year.
It gets really hard to do. Like I have a friend that's like, hey, tell me what gold's going to be in 5 years. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you that.
But you know what I can do is I show people a chart on how much it's gone up in the past, like 20 years. I mean, we can look at the past, right? And look at the charts on what we think it's going to do. So, that's how I always analyze things is I look at the chart from years past.
Now, here's a question too. So, who's going to buy gold at 3K? Well, I'm going to ask the same question as who is going to buy gold at $1,000? Because when gold was sitting at $280, I bet there were a lot of people trying to figure out if they would spend more than $300. Who's going to do that? So even at $3,000, people will be buying gold. Now, if we get into a really bad economic time, people will be buying less of it. At least retail will.
I'm gonna punch the tiger face off you if you don't stop.
Tiger. Okay, so we got one more here. Did any of you, thank you for the super chat, PMG, Poor Man's Gold. Did any of you all the fun show?
I'm thinking about making a trip this January to the fun show. And I'm trying to plan a trip that I think that I may go to that show, the fun show.
Nick, if you're going to that show, let me know. Maybe I'll go down too.
Yeah, I really think that that's a lot of people. Yes,
I think it's here where I'm staying right now. I think this is where they do it.
Yes, they do it around the Orlando area, and my husband's family lives in South Georgia, which is about an hour north of Jacksonville, Florida. So it would be an easy trip for me to do. So that's probably my goal, and I have a lot of people that would like to that meet up there would like to meet. So
yeah. So the broke stacker wants us to stay broke.
And of course, I would, if I'm at the fun show, I don't care who's around, and I buy some mint sets, you bet I'm going to be doing it on the floor of the show. And I'm going to be cracking lacking.
Yeah, I agree. I totally want to do that, Nick. That'd be fun. Michael, I did hear about that. I don't know. I can't substantiate it, but I did hear that and a lot of other stuff. But I do think, Nick, I think it would be really fun to go to. I think it'd be fun to see all those people. I hear it's a really big show.
Yeah.
And if you're going down, I should come down too. And we do like a live stream coin talk on that would be awesome.
We should do that yes, that would be amazing. And see who's going in and out of the show too, because there's so many YouTubers that go and that people that we know and we associate with. It's just I think it'd be a fun time. And also, who doesn't love coins?
For sure.
And OC Stacker, they wouldn't let you there because you're an Alabama fan. They're not going to let you in Florida. Those Gators will eat you up. And John Jacobs, John Jacobs, I'm sorry, but when I do a live stream with Surfer, I don't have many eye rolls at all. I mean, probably zero. Maybe one time. And I know with Tiger, I only had one time. It was a brief moment of an eye roll. So it's it can't be a put on because, I mean, even, I haven't even eye rolled once tonight. And I feel it after the fact.
Yeah, that's funny. I've gotten a few of them out, but not very many. But this question I think is kind of fun too, Nick. So I'm going to guess that when silver hits $100 an ounce, you're going to have more people buying silver.
I'm a comedian.
Than you have today. That's my guess. Is you're going to have maybe twice as many people buying silver than buy it today when you have $100 an ounce silver. However, they're not going to be buying as much as they buy today.
So if it was $100 an ounce, would you be selling or would you be buying? Because I'm telling you right now, I'd be selling a lot of silver rounds at $100.
It depends on the situation and what's going on out there. If it looks like it's something that is short term, if it looks like something short term, you'd be selling some of it. But like I'd be selling my premium silver at $100.
Yes, 100%. And that's what I mean. And my silver rounds, I'd keep all the generic. I'd get rid, like the Hulk. I'd get rid of all all that kind of stupid stuff. And of course, I would keep my constitutional. But at $100 an ounce, you betcha I'm going to be selling, and I'm going to be selling a lot.
But I think if it's $100 an ounce, I think you're going to see more adoption. I think you're going to see more people buying. Tiger would be a good man. He's hijacking the stream.
And so we were in, I can't remember where we were, but my husband looks at me and he goes, "Can you just watch your face, please?" And that's my cue of like, stop making those faces when somebody's talking.
Hey, Frostbite, you need to get a hold of Tiger. He's trying to give away the secret sauce.
I'm gonna punch him. Not only did he get an eye roll, but he got a
Uh-oh, look, Frostbite's already signing up. That's the first customer right there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so this is what I'm saying here, Nick. I talk to people that have been stacking for a lot longer than me, and they tell me how they were buying silver at $5 and they were buying gold at, $300 and $800.
Oh man, I just
if you look at that,
in on that.
I know, but if you look at that relative to now, the prices are so much higher. It's the same thing like when gold hits 5,000 and silver hits 100. People are still going to buy it.
And that's true though, because I remember I was buying gold when it was $1,400 an ounce, right? And now look how much it is an ounce. So you've got to get started somewhere.
But here's the thing: I'll be making I should be making more money than I do today if gold and silver are at those amounts of money. So if I'm not, I won't have as much means to buy it. So it also kind of depends on what's happening with the economy and the market. Are the prices higher because of inflation, or are they higher because our currency has been completely whacked? And now we just can't buy that much anymore.
We know our currency is, I mean, it's going to be completely worthless. I mean,
but what Brooke's saying here too is I do think that'll be the case initially, guys. But let's say that it's at $100 an ounce for, let's say it ranges between 80 and 120 for, 2 or 3 years. People have got to be buying it at the same time. It's the same thing like it, when silver got up to $34 an ounce, are people going to buy it? Are they going to sell it? What are they going to do with it? It depends on, did someone go buy up a ton of silver and do a big silver squeeze? And it's kind of a fake breakout.
I want to address that because I have always talked about that it's so much easier to purchase gold and silver than it is to sell. And if you don't, I always say you need some goals to establish, and also what would you do with it if you had it and you needed to sell quickly? Because that is an issue and that's a problem for people. I have found for me, it's a lot easier to sell gold than it is silver. Much easier.
For sure.
You
can recoup it a lot easier. That's for sure.
But there are also ways that I have found online at your local coin stores. I mean, it can be done. And I prefer peer-to-peer. And that's what this community is about, right? I think that we need to, sometimes somebody may be looking for something, or if somebody needs to sell something, let us know. We'll put it in the chat because sometimes people need it for bills or for taxes and can't sell it quickly, but we could try to help each other.
So Nick, what about this comment from Dr. Rob Reddick here? When banks start cracking and they can no longer manipulate the price, it will go up and people will pay anything to get rid of their crap fiat worthless money. So let's say people start losing faith in the US dollar. Would people be unloading US dollars to pick up silver, and would that price start jumping?
And Sean, LCSs are great, but in my case, my local coin store closed. I don't have one close to me. The closest one now is 2 hours away. So, some people in rural areas aren't always going to have the availability to go to your local coin store.
I agree. So Nick, I think it depends on the circumstances and what's happening. So if you still have a very strong economy and the price is going up on the metals, it's probably due to adoption, more people buying.
Just looking for a girlfriend.
Just
looking for a girlfriend wants to know if we can help him. How much money you have? I mean, that's going to determine on the level of girlfriend we can get for you.
The community help. Oh my gosh.
I don't know if silver is real wealth. I mean, it's not. It's really, we're not holding it for wealth. We're preserving.
I would say that's more gold's place.
Yeah, right.
And, here's the thing, though. If you're starving, gold and silver is worth zero. If it's between food and gold and silver, you're going to go for food. You would trade your last bit of silver and gold in for that last bit of food.
Yes, my sister does. Is single. I do have a single sister. She won't get on camera with me. I was down at her house this past weekend. I'll be going to a concert with her this weekend, and she won't get on camera with me. But I will, and I can tell you, she is stunningly beautiful. She's the looker in the family, I'm telling you. Seriously.
So one of these days, we'll have her in a tiara on Tiger Show.
She will never come on YouTube, but she is. I'm telling. I wish she would, because she's a really nice looking. She's pretty.
So Nick, I think we should probably wind it down. I think we're at 11:30 here Eastern.
Yes.
So the last thing I'll tell you guys is Coin Talk is not over. Schedules are hard for us to keep it going. I'm having a hard time in the summertime here. Getting multiple videos out a week anyway. So there's just a lot more going on. It's a little crazier, but I want to thank you guys for coming out. Prices are going to fluctuate in the metals, guys. So when you see it going down, the first thing to do is not panic. I think it's a great buying opportunity. I think it's the time to be looking to get better, better prices. When you really want to look at things, it's when premiums start changing drastically. If you start seeing premiums going up drastically, there's more demand for it. When you see the premiums starting to shrink, there's less demand.
And maybe we need to do a show where we can show our tips on how we sell and where we sell and get the most for, because I mean, there's some particular things I do online that I sell, some things that I sell peer to peer. I mean, I have this whole process, but maybe we could share some of our tips on who we sell to. And also, I'm wicked good at shopping and getting the best price. And maybe we should go through and show how we do that as well and what sites we use.
No, I think we should totally do that. So, the longer I stack, the better price I get when I buy, and the more I can maximize my selling price when I sell. And so it's finding the right people. It's, I'm not talking about ripping people off. I'm talking about finding the person that appreciates what you have and getting the true value of what something's worth. Those are all very important things.
And a lot of times people miss the window of opportunity to sell as well. And I do have a formula in my head on how I determine what I'm going to sell and why. It's a process, and I kind of think it through.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, Nick, soon, guys, we'll be telling you what's going on for Coin Talk. We'll get that going again. But I want to thank everybody for coming out. And
oh my gosh, Tiger is so. I mean, seriously, he doesn't know this, but he is in so much trouble when I get off here. And oh yeah, so it's on like Donkey Kong.
Oh my gosh! All right, well, we better cut it. Thank you, everybody, for coming out.
Thank you. Bye.